Situational questions. Nowadays, this is common in most of the interviews. Beyond your experience, beyond your knowledge, how did you react to a given situation is gaining more importance in the selection process. They ask your previous experience to a given situation and they are interested to know how did you react to that. Just say, for example, explain a situation where you made a mistake and how did you overcome that. Explain a situation you had a conflict with a coworker. Explain a situation where you were loaded with double amount of work which is practically not possible in a given period of time, and how did you manage that. When you start answering to such questions, you will imagine the situation, you will try to put that in words, and the whole story might come up. And you will lose the complete control over the time. You will not know where to start and where to end. The interviewer might not understand the way you are trying to explain. You are explaining the story from your perspective. And also they are not interested to listen to your story. There is a standard way of answering this question, which is called a STAR model. STAR. Situation, task, action and result. So you need to bring in your experience in this particular STAR format to answer it clearly and crisp. Explain the situation where you made a mistake and how did you overcome. Be careful when talking about your mistake and should not mention any mistake which is compromising to the compliance of the organization or something which is illegal. Try to bring in the STAR format of answering here. First, talk about the situation. It was during the initial days I joined here. My manager was on vacation. I was still learning about the roles and responsibilities. And in a critical project meeting, I was assigned a task which is not a responsibility of our team. And due to time criticality, I did not properly check the documentation and simply accepted the task. T. Now come to the task. The task was to complete a workflow process for supply payment processing within that day. I started working on that. And during the midway, I found that this was not our responsibility. Action. The first thing I did in the action was, I checked the impact. If I do this task, is there something legally incorrect? And I found that there is, for top management or the department head, there is no wrong, there is no difference if I do the task or the other team do the task. So for overall interest of the organization, I completed the task by taking some extra time. And I ensured that I keep informed the other team, also the department head, that due to the time criticality I have taken this task and completed. For the next request onwards, please take over to the other department. R. Result. Coming to the result, a critical task is completed for the organization. At the same time, I had a good learning out of it. To always check the roles and responsibility document before taking up any task. Let's take another example. Explain a situation where you are loaded with double amount of work which is practically not possible. How did you manage? Again, try to bring in the STAR format here. First, talk about the situation. I was working in purchasing and there was a critical project in which the 100 purchase order has to be placed to the supplier within 3 to 4 hours. There are certain stock levels at the supplier for the materials, and the purchase order has to reach the supplier before the stock levels comes down. Now comes to the task. Task is 100 purchase order has to be sent within 3 to 4 hours, which is practically not possible with the current resource availability. Coming into the action. Instead of just going back to manager and saying this task is too much, I cannot do this, I did a value analysis on that and found that only 25 purchase order is contributing 85% of the value. Now we have something to prioritize, and this 25 purchase order was prioritized and sent to the supplier. And also had a discussion with the supplier and ensuring that 85% of the value, that was convincing for him to wait for the remaining purchase order and hold the stock at least for 1 or 2 days. Now we have a task of sending 75 purchase order to the supplier. I got the support from 2 or 3 interns from my team. I explained the task and they were able to help me. Of course, as they're doing it for the first time, we always had a quality check in process. But still, at worst case, even if they make a mistake, that will be contributing to only 1 to 2% of the total value. So coming on to the result, all the purchase order was 85% were sent in the first day. The stock has been secured and I improved my work allocation skill, and also the interns got the on-the-job training. You don't have to always keep the headers STAR. Instead, you can bring in all these terms in your answer and make your answer simple, short and crisp. So take up different situation and try to analyze in the star format and preparing your answers. This is not going to work out if you don't practice on this. So start taking a random task and work on it. All the best for your interviews. Thank you. Please do subscribe to my channel and like the videos and share with your friends.